I love to see people in this restaurant, and I love to see them. They enjoying drinking, chatting. But I feel like, am I able to cook or not?
Today is the day. We are playing this episode on Wednesday, the day that Melbourne dining is allowed to reopen. I'm talking to Coskun Uysal from Tulum Restaurant. We're speaking on Tuesday, the day before everything happens. At 11:59 p.m. tonight, Melbourne restaurants, cafes, pubs are allowed to open their doors. Numbers are still limited. There's only 10 diners allowed in each space inside, up to a maximum of 20, and there's up to 50 diners allowed outside. And both of those numbers have got density restrictions attached. So it's definitely not open slather. Those numbers don't make it easy for many businesses to break out of making a loss, break into the black, but it is something. And we've just had 2 days of 0 coronavirus cases in Melbourne. So the feeling in the city is pretty excited, I have to say. Coskun, thank you so much for coming along today to have a chat to me on Dirty Linen. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
No, thank you for inviting. It's my pleasure.
I've seen you a few times through the pandemic. I don't live far from Tulum, and I've had the privilege of enjoying some of the takeaway food that you've done over the period. I have to say, sometimes when I've seen you, you've looked pretty sad. How are you feeling at the moment?
Oh, I mean, at the moment, I am over the moon, and even the restaurants can open for 10 people inside, which is, for me, it's that I can see people in my restaurant. So that makes me really very happy. And but when we were doing this takeaway, and I, I have to do it because we have couple of student visa holders, and it is more than business or making money. It was actually supporting our staff here, but at the same time, for my heart, I never enjoy doing the takeaway. I find it a bit soulless. Just prep everything all day, and then when the order came, you just put it in a box, put it in a bag, and then in a second your food is lost somewhere. Which my idea of cooking is just cook to the people that I can talk, and I can see how they're enjoying, and about the food and the stories behind. But the good thing is, like, now we can open for even 10 people, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, I have to say that even when your food was takeaway, I could still taste the love in it, and I could still taste the soul that you put into it. So it wasn't it wasn't too far away from what you wanted it to be. But I agree, there's nothing like putting the food in front of somebody and having that experience of seeing them eat it and really having that connection by being in the same place. I think it's something that all of us have missed and longed for, whether it's from the kitchen side, the service side, or the diner side. I really think we're all going to be so moved by the experience of being back together again in restaurants. What do you think?
I mean, as I said, like, I love to see people in this restaurant, and I love to see them. They enjoying drinking, chatting, and but even like we opening on Friday is going to be our first day, and I'm start prepping today. But I feel like if I can really cook again. I'm now questioning myself, am I able to cook or not? It was quite a long time not being in the kitchen and what we used to do. But I feel like, we're gonna go back to normal as soon as we can. And but no, I mean, I'm happy. Honestly, it's great to be even for camp people.
So it's interesting, like you've got this sort of element of doubt to it. Is it the doubt of, I don't know, what is it? What is that? What is the feeling?
Um, I don't know. I feel because I haven't cooking for the the restaurant menu that what we used to do, and I feel like I'm lost my I like that's how I feel. This I'm always negative, especially about myself. And I feel like, oh God, how I'm gonna cook this dish? I forget about that dish, and so how long should I cook that dish? And how long it's gonna stay on the stove? Like all these details that it was in my mind that now I feel like I lost them all, but I feel like nervous. Um, but I mean, when we start, cooking, I know it will come back to me. But at the moment, I
Yeah.
feel like very nervous.
Wow. Interesting. I mean, in a way, from that perspective, do you think it's better to have lower numbers to start with so that you're not thrown back into that full service experience straight away?
Absolutely, no, it is. It's even for 10 people, it is good for us to start, like on our feet in the kitchen and bring back all the recipes, bring back all the food, and it's like a training for ourselves for minimum amount of our guests. I think it's. I mean, I'm happier for 10 people rather than full opening.
Interesting. And what about financially? Like, what are you doing to maximize the income even with those restrictions?
Uh, I think we're a bit lucky because we have 2 rooms in the restaurant, and the first one is for inside, which is only 10 people, but we have also backyard, so it's an open area, so we can easily bring like 15 to 20 people,
Hmm.
which is a good number. But also front of the restaurant, there's a big food path, and so we bought lots of plants and the herbs, and so it's going to be like beautiful and greenery outside. So altogether, I think in one seating, we could be like 40, 45,
Oh, that's great.
which is really
That's
good,
really great.
which is very good. And
Uh,
there's a lot of demand. So Friday and Saturday, we do like 3 seatings. So it starts at 5 o'clock. The second one is 7 o'clock. The last one is 9 o'clock. And before the like before the pandemic, the 5 o'clock, it was a joke. Like if you think about, let's open at 5, it was like no one will come. But at the moment,
yeah,
5 o'clock is already it's full. The first sitting is totally full now.
that's so great.
It's great.
Wow. Well, actually, now that you say all that, it really doesn't sound like an easy start. It sounds like you're going to be
Yes,
working all night and all day, and it's going to be intense the whole time.
it is. But after 4 months, so we're ready for it. I mean, we're ready to
Yeah.
welcome everyone here.
So great. Well, I remember when we opened in June that Tulum was my first like dinner out, and again you had the seating. So I think we were there for 2 hours or an hour and a half. I can't remember what it was, and we're like, well, can you give us a full tasting menu, 7 courses in that time? And I felt like we were. I mean, it was beautiful. I enjoyed it so much, but it felt like it felt like some kind of Olympic septathlon or something. Like I've really felt like, yeah, I deserve my gold medal at the end of that eating race. It was it was brilliant.
Yeah, but we still have 2 hours seating, and if anyone wants 7 course, that's what we do here. It's easily can be done, and but it's going to be a little bit rush, obviously. But if
You know what it was. I think I was talking too much to my friends because we were so overexcited that we could be in a restaurant together.
yes, I mean, lots of people, even like on the messages that we receive from social media or email, or even when they call us, they they even don't want to talk about the menus or dietaries. They all want to say, we want to come there. That's it. No dietary, nothing else. Which is like, everyone is so excited at the moment.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? I've heard that from other people, even during with people doing takeaway, that dietaries were really not so much of an issue. So it just makes me wonder, did people just decide they wanted to eat? I mean, some of those, of course, people have allergies, that's different, but I think a lot of those preferences, or those, oh no, I don't eat like this, I eat like that. I think a lot of those things have fallen away.
I know, the cuisine is based on onion and garlic, what we do here. So we use a lot of onion, a lot of garlic. And sometimes people, when they say, oh, we're allergic to onion, and then one of our floor staff came and counted, this table is allergic to onion and garlic. I said, oh, golly, okay, let me talk to them. So when I talk to them, they say, it's a little bit garlic is fine, or a little bit onion is fine. So, so you know what I mean? But even that, it's great that people want to go out. I think they're fed up and stay home cooking or either take away food. Now they're looking for someone to serve them without thinking the food or dietaries.
Yeah, definitely. Um, well, Joshkin, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about your background. You're from Turkey, from Istanbul, and tell us a bit about what life was like for you as a boy, because I know it was very different to life in Melbourne.
Oh, I mean, the life in Melbourne and life in Istanbul, it's for me like before Melbourne, before after Istanbul. So I was born in Istanbul, grew up in Istanbul, and also studied tourism and hotel management in Istanbul. So we have a small family, I would say, and I'm the youngest. I have a brother and sister. So we were living all together in a very small house. So we didn't, I think I mean, like the family didn't have enough money that we all were living in the same room, except my mom and my father. And so, like when I grown up, and I always wanted to be actually a football player, to be honest. So
You did.
I did, and I actually played for the national team and but I had a serious injury on my leg, and then I couldn't keep going. And then I fell in love with cooking, and then I went to London for studying food and wine, like a chefing, and then back to Istanbul and find myself a job, which I worked actually with the same company for 12 years. So it's called the House Cafe, and but it's like when I say I'm really like negative about myself all the time, I think being I keep thinking like whatever I do it's always wrong, but working very hard and have a dream is it's that part of I cover my that negative side that I don't have to think about it. So if I have a time like sit down and do nothing, I'm become very negative person. But if I keep working and doing something, I don't have to think about that side. And
Right.
it does make sense.
Yeah, well, it does. I mean, I suppose it makes me think that lockdown is really not very good for you.
Well, it wasn't good at all for me mentally. I felt like like I'm always like feel I wouldn't say like depressed, but I wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't thinking like positive for the future, and I feel like this is end of the world. Like every day, like there's something that I'm keep thinking about this. Um, but it's like if we're going back to Turkey, and you know the life is there already hard for trying to survive and find a job and pay the rent and everything, but at the same time being a gay, and that you have to cover yourself. On top of that, I was like carrying whole world on my shoulder. And but when I come to Melbourne, I realized that actually there's there's no there's there's no, I mean, like being gay is mean nothing here. Like you, I don't know, when I say like nothing, it's like normal.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, like I find myself last for already 5 years now I'm in Melbourne, but now on I feel like, whenever I met people that's, oh, you have a girlfriend, I said no, I'm gay. Now I can say that easily and proudly. People that knowing that I won't have any negative from
Yeah.
the other person, so I feel like very comfortable and relaxed, to be honest, being myself.
That's so good. Josh, when did you realize that you were gay?
Um, I mean, I always knew, like myself around, say, 12, 13. And then, but one day when I was in high school for 3 years, I fell in love with my sport teacher for 3 years. And that 3 years is like actually 6 years for me, every single day and every single night. Like you fall in love with the person that you even can't talk to your best friend, that you're actually in love with someone. But no, I mean, I was like around, say, 16, 19, 20. I knew what's happening to me. But this high school was for 3 years. It was pain for me for
Did
three
you
years.
have, like, was it something that was around you? Like, did you have words for it? Could you sort of explain it to yourself, or was it just these feelings that were overwhelming you?
Uh, because of where I grew up, and there's no meaning. I didn't know what is being gay, and I didn't know, even like I didn't have any idea about homosexuality, and I didn't know anything. I thought, I'm the only one, like a boy, and who's actually likes another the male, and I thought, oh my God, what's happening to me? I think, and being also and growing up in a Muslim family, and like it's impossible even to think about it. And so, it was actually like very dark. Even the daytime, I feel like, my heart was dark, and unknown what's happening to me. And the problem was actually that I find it that I cannot talk to anyone to get some advice. I didn't know anyone, and I was so worried that if I give some sort of hint to the people that I'm gay or I feel like gay, that's probably like end of my world. If someone knew what's happening to me in my in my soul. No, but I mean, I think I find the the light end of the tunnel is the cooking. It's something that I love to do, and something that keep me busy, and something like what I do is also inspire young chefs in Turkey, which is like, thank God that I have something to hold on it while I was in
Yes.
Turkey. Well,
Yeah, I
so,
mean, it must have been a really big weight, and it is so great that you saw that this pathway, a path that could take you anywhere in the world. Really, uh, was I mean, have you? What happened? Like, did you in the end tell someone in your family?
um, well, there's another story actually with my sister, which I think everyone that who knows me, I'm really like in love with my mother. I love her so much, so deeply, as well as my sister. And I love my sister is because she's my sister, yes, but also she was 16, what, like 1 6, and she had to marry with one of our neighbors' son that who lives in Germany. It's like fixed marriage from my father to this guy's father. She was only 16, and yeah, like she never been outside Istanbul, but when she was 17, she was living in Germany, that she couldn't speak any language. Anyway, so I thought, like, she was living in Germany, and for 5 years, 6 years, she kept coming back to visit the family. And then one day I thought, yeah, because she lives in Germany, I'm sure, like, she met someone like me, or she knows about this, she's more mature and all those things. And then I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna tell her this time when she's coming. And then so one night I said to my sister, can we talk, and can we go outside, like somewhere on the street that we can talk? She says, yeah, yeah, no problem. So, talking like daily based stuff. And then I said to her, look, I tell you something, but please don't tell to anyone, even my mother and father. And she says, yeah, you're scaring me, but tell me what it is. And I told her that, that's how I feel. And like she's become like someone so totally different person. The person that I feel like, love, and she loves me. I know that, but she suddenly become like different person. She says, that's how can you do this to your family and blaming me, and you're sick, and we have to go to hospital, and don't tell this to your mother. If you do, they will die. All those things. So I thought, oh my god, if she thinks like that, I can't even imagine telling that to the rest of my family. And since then, I stopped even thinking about it.
That's so sad. And yeah, it's hard to imagine that you could have stayed. I mean, did you feel like you had to choose between living your truth and being in Istanbul with your family?
I mean, because of the way that I feel, I knew that I have no space in that family, but I didn't want to burn the bridges as well because of my mom. And all I was planning for my future is the best thing is to move out as soon as possible that I can, which is like, find myself a job. So I think I was like, 19 while I was studying food and tourism and hotel management in Turkey, and I was working in a coffee shop as a waiter, and just making money, and then to renting my own small apartment in Istanbul to live there by myself. So that was like I was seeing myself to be out of this small world. I don't
Mm.
know how to explain, but it's the from the family, because I knew there's no life for me. The best thing is I had to move. So move out first from the family. So it's almost like a couple of hours away from where they used to live. And I find myself in a small apartment, keep working, work harder every day. And yeah, so that was I think it was the best decision for me to move in out the family.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, it's so poignant because so much of your food is very connected to your mother. I mean, you've got a famous dish, the chilber, so the egg with yogurt and burnt butter. It's just so incredibly delicious. But I also remember the zeytinyali, the vegetables cooked in olive oil, and there's just a real connection to your beloved mother through these dishes that you put your own modern spin on. Can you talk about the way that you come up with dishes and the way that they do connect to your mother and the dishes that she made for you?
Um, yeah, so what actually we do here is it's based on home cook, home food, like what my mom used to cook for us. Even like when we talk about the recipes or the dishes in the kitchen, so we have every like the body on the floor, and then it came out my business partner or tells my sous chef. So when we talk about these specific dishes, we all have some memories. So the idea is for me, okay, it is very personal. It's that we know the dish, but we have to we have to work hard to explain that dish for our guests actually why we did this and how we do this. So that is for me really very important. So yes, that's every mom's cooks in Turkey, and it's like very simple recipes. So I think where I'm very lucky and also feel rich for to have that life experience, because again, like in our home every single night we have minimum 4 to 5 different dishes, like every
Mm.
single night. And if there is one another dish from last night, we were like all complaining, are you serious, mom? How can you do this to us? You don't love us anymore, like that's how we there's so many food that she was cooking. So we I take that the food the way that she cooked.
Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense. And I think it's really evident, this beautiful heart and soul to these dishes, this modern presentation. And to me, Tulum is such a Melbourne restaurant. It's someone who, someone is you. It's someone who's got an amazing, rich, storied background, such a incredible there's so many incredible traditions in Turkish food. And you've been on this personal journey and you've landed in Melbourne, lucky for us. And I think everything is on the plate. Like you can just really sense that it's so rich and there's so much to it. And I'd love you to talk about why you chose Melbourne, Josh Kun.
um, so the first time in my, I mean, like if you don't count my high school sport teacher, it's because it's one way love. That's on the from my side, and but the first time actually I fall in love with a man that who is actually from Melbourne. So we met in London. I was studying the chefing in the afternoon. The school is finished. I was on Chelsea on the King's Road, and I was actually sitting in a coffee shop. So if you think about that, is like 15 or 16 years ago. My English, I'm even now struggling to explain myself. But then my English was like so bad, and I was in a coffee shop, and I ordered. I was in a pub, and I ordered a coffee for myself. And so the barman he served 2 cups of coffee at the same time. Like I said, look, I'm a student. I'm trying to explain myself. I order only one. I don't want to pay another like £2 for another coffee. You know what I mean? Those feelings. You're a student in somewhere else, and so while I was explaining myself, and now my partner, his name is Peter, he walked into the coffee shop. I thought, oh my God, I must be in heaven at the moment. And and so when you walk into the coffee shop, and then we just connect. It wasn't a gay bar. It wasn't like a gay place. It's just like normal coffee shop, normal pub in Kings Road. And so he came and sit next to me, and then I said, "Can I buy you coffee?" So that was like first talk. in between. And that was probably 15, 16 years ago. So since then, we clicked, and then we have a relationship. So he have to, he was working in London, so he had to go back to Melbourne to work, and I back to Istanbul for my own work. And then, but in between, this millions of miles couldn't kill our love to each other. So every day actually it's get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But either I come here for a holiday when I have time, or he came to visit me in Istanbul. And so 5 years ago, when he was in Istanbul, we were actually thinking, okay, look, we can't keep going like this for another 10 years, and so we have to do something. Either finish the relationship, or I come there or you come here. And so when we start talking about this, we realize that he can't speak in Turkish, so there's no life for him in Istanbul. And then he says, okay, so you're a chef, you can speak English, so we can find you a job in Melbourne. So that's why actually I moved to Melbourne from Istanbul. Its only reason is my partner, Peter.
Right. Well, thank you, Peter, for luring Joshkun to Melbourne. We're so lucky to have you. What do you think Melbourne's restaurant scene is going to be like in the weeks, months, and years ahead?
I don't think it's going to change anything in a quality wise that I'm talking. Like before I moved here, I was visiting theater and go to all the restaurants, and I thought, oh my god, the food, the style of the restaurant, the style of dishes, the creativity, that is like there is nowhere in the world. Like I've been to London and New York, all the big places, Paris, but the Melbourne food and wine, um, it's I find it like it's a bit high level than other cities around the world. It's my opinion. I mean, like people think maybe other way around, but it's so high quality. Even the coffee shops, the cafes, restaurants, some of the takeaway, places like, that could be a fine dining in Turkey, takeaway food here in Melbourne. I can serve that in Istanbul as a fine dining. Like it's so high level. But after this pandemic, I don't believe anything is gonna change in the creativity and the service style. The things is gonna change, the way that now, because the virus is around still, so we have to have the face masks, and then cleaning every table before and after. Those things are add on another responsibility in the businesses. But in the restaurant, I don't believe, like we're still gonna serve beautiful wines, still caring people that will come into the restaurants, or the chefs, they're dying to be more creative.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna change anything. It's not gonna it's not going worse. It's going better for that's what I'm thinking.
So it's still going to be the Melbourne that we love.
Yes, this is like it's amazing because it's I, almost like 3 months ago I also become a Australian citizen, and
Yes.
from to be honest, from day one that I moved here, I never ever felt like I'm a stranger. I don't know, does it make sense or not, but it feels like I know the city. I know, I feel like I was born in here. I love this city. It's so beautiful. People are accepted and very civilized. Can I tell you that again? It's very civilized city, and it's I'm really loving this the lifestyle in this city.
Great. Well, you know what? We love you. We love that you're an Australian citizen. We love Tulum. We're so lucky that you're here doing what you do. Coskun, thank you so much for sharing your story with Dirty Linen today. It's an absolute privilege to hear you speak. I wish you all the best with reopening, and I cannot wait to be there, immersed in the heart and soul experience that you create. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Dani, for giving me this opportunity.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about. We spend a week thrashing around each issue, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta at Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
This is a Deep in the Weeds production.